But see, we're starting a little bit later.
Yeah.
And that is actually nice. I do like that.
Excuse me. Larry?
Oh, you might remember what's happening now, actually. This one, I have a lot of feelings.
these two I always
Such a good time
forgot.
this morning. Always enjoy working with you in service.
Same here. And I hope Miss Johnson
Oh,
comes to
this
the meeting
one.
this Sunday.
That would be so nice.
Hey, did you ever find your sunglasses?
No, I looked all over. I have no idea where they could be.
Hey,
Hey, Susan.
good to see you.
Good to see
You
you.
left these at my house last night.
Can you believe it?
What? Susan had another gathering at her home last night, and I wasn't invited again. I just don't get it.
They had to be yours.
Thanks again. I'm always leaving my stuff behind.
And Helen, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Sorry, I got it.
Helen,
Oh,
what just happened?
I have no idea.
she might have to sneeze.
I don't know.
I'm kidding.
I got that.
You didn't laugh?
Um,
What am I, chopped liver?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Okay. So, I mean, this isn't, like, on one hand, if you go in a hall, this hall still looks pretty small.
Yeah.
But let's use 100 as a number. You think
Okay, sure.
like, just use it as a number. Obviously, you can't have 100 people to your house every day.
Sure.
Every time. And I feel like what the correct action would be is, like, if you want to have people over all the time, and, like, we're all, the congregation, we're all friends here.
Mhm.
You should have, like, a rotating cycle.
Oh, gosh, that's so hard to keep up.
Yeah, no, that's...
I mean, frankly, like, the deal is, like, this woman feels slighted that Susan would invite, and I think she goes into more specifics here in a minute. Susan would invite everybody else to her house. But, like, in a small congregation like that, you can definitely feel it, and you can tell. And honestly, if there's, like, 20 people to choose from, and if you can invite all 20 of them to your home and you only invite 19, that is a choice.
Yeah, this is one thing that I would pose this to anybody, active or ex-witness. Just using witness rules and stuff. This is a single sister. Or perhaps has an unbelieving mate.
How do you know?
Because she came alone.
Oh, yeah,
So
she
she
was sitting
doesn't-
alone, yeah.
She's alone spiritually. So
Oh, no, she
either
was sitting
she's
alone.
single or she doesn't, or her husband isn't a witness. Those are the options for this woman.
Yeah.
If this sister, who apparently has gatherings all the time, doesn't take an effort to include her, and she leaves the truth,
That is on them.
that's on her.
That's
What's
true.
And I just want you guys to keep that in the back of your mind, and let's keep this going.
Yeah. By the way, I totally identify with her. I've been left out of so many things that I feel like it hurts so bad to be left out like that.
I was left out of several cliques at my
Helen.
congregation.
I mean, honestly, like, even getting left out of small
What do you think,
things. Yeah.
If people don't even pose the
I
question.
feel like I must have done something to hurt you. And I want to apologize if I have. Is there something wrong?
I guess you had some more of the friends over last night?
Well, yes, a few.
Do you mind telling me why I'm never invited?
Helen, I'm sorry.
That's right,
I
you
never
did.
thought-
Never thought what? That I would have noticed how many times you've done this to me. Well, I've noticed. Yesterday makes the third time in the last couple of months that you've had people to your home without
Okay,
me.
so third time in the last couple of months, and you've done this to me. Those are both kind of red flags for me.
You're leaving her team a little bit?
A little bit. It's not something she did to you unless you have evidence that she's deliberately targeting you, right? Like, for example, if I didn't buy you lunch, I didn't spite you unless you have evidence that I did spite you, right? So, like, she's taking it very personally. In her emotional state, she may say things she doesn't really mean. So that's kind of a red flag that she would say that, and also say 3 times in the last few months. Means you've been keeping track. That's a little bit, especially this upset over 3 months. But I think it has been more than that, I think. Because she
Yeah.
does specify, I think, how many times this year, which is also an alarming thing to keep track of.
Yeah,
But like, would it be unheard of for someone to just invite friends over and that's it?
Yeah, no, I mean,
Like,
that's
when I'm
the
using
thing.
friends in the non-Jehovah's Witness, everybody's your friend kind of way.
Yeah, no, like we had,
Everybody in the
like at
congregation.
my hall, there were like 2 families that we were especially close to, and we were kind of just over there every weekend. But I don't know, and like, so maybe that's what she's not getting invited to, and like,
You can't help if you're not part of that. Well, I mean, you can help, but it's really hard.
I
That's a common thing inside and outside of a religion, like a closed-off religion.
yeah,
like
you
this.
wouldn't know if you're a part of, like, that's a thing
No,
too.
I'm saying, like, even if you're not part of, like, regardless of whether you're in the religion or not.
No, I know. You
Yeah.
wouldn't know if you're part of a clique, like a social clique. Like, one time my parents let me have a worldly party in the 5th grade.
Oh.
And it wasn't. It was actually funny. Only 2 I was only allowed to invite girls
Okay.
in my class.
In a sort of, gender, whatever way, I see that logic, okay. A heteronormative way.
Yeah. So I was only allowed to invite the girls over. My dad got a bouncy castle. Only
You
2
got a bouncy castle?
It was very fun. Unfortunately, only 2 girls on the list, and my dad's boss's daughter came.
Oh.
And we planned for, like, I think it was in a class of, like, 20 kids. So at least there should have been, like, 10 to 12 people there. They didn't come.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, it was actually fine.
It's nice that some people came.
Yeah, one thing I remember.
Especially since you got a bouncy castle. Knowing your dad, he was probably heartbroken.
Yeah, no, he's still.
But, I mean, the
you
thing is,
brought
like,
it up,
you were explicitly told to stay out of a lot of things in the school.
Right.
And as a result, you wouldn't have been able to form the kinds of friendships that would allow for
Yeah.
a fun day. If I got invited to someone's party, but I didn't know them that well, I probably wouldn't go.
Yeah.
You
So.
know? And if my kid got invited to some party, I would have the kid go, even if we don't know the kid that well, because we've had this experience.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
But if
like,
you don't have it, you're not really.
normies who don't have that experience, who have just been to birthday parties and not been to birthday parties and never really thought about it, probably don't think about it either, and they don't encourage their kids to, like, really reach out to those kids. Because, like, you never know why the kid doesn't have that many friends. You really don't.
Yeah.
It could be because they're just weird, and, like, weird kids deserve friends too. Dumb kids deserve friends too.
Like, yeah, that's the thing.
But, like, they could also just be in a weird situation, an unusual situation, like in a Jehovah's Witness situation.
Yeah, like, growing up, we're not, like, these are story times for another day. We don't have to have so many right now. But, yeah, I could definitely see, there was, in my circuit, there was a lot of young people my age, and I was often just not invited to things that they did. If I hung out with other witness teams locally, it was because I planned it.
Mm-hmm.
I was, like, in charge.
Oh, so even among witnesses, you weren't popular.
I was just a very unpopular weirdo. Because I think that's the thing, too. I had too many... Like, I loved watching TV, wasn't a big fan of service. I was bad association in the Kingdom Hall, but I was also bad association because I was just also a weirdo. Because, like...
You didn't have the social... Yeah.
Even, like... And also, like...
No wonder you turned out like such a weird... weirdo.
I was just a weird... I was gonna be a weirdo no matter what. And, so you are listening and you feel excluded either at school or at work or at the Kingdom Hall. Those are valid feelings to have. And that's okay to, like, everyone deserves company and social life. Everyone's entitled to that.
I'll say this.
So don't, if people aren't friends with you, unless you're like being mean, like pushing people or something. It's not that there's something wrong with you.
Right.
Sometimes it's just hard to like find an in. Like I struggle with that. Like I lean on Bob a lot to sort of get conversations going. So sometimes you might need to just like find something like interesting about yourself that you can like share and engage with people on like that sort of subject. And it'll take time, but it could help, because it's never good to feel too isolated. Like, which is different than being alone alone.
Being alone is not the same as being lonely.
Yeah.
They coincide when you're lonely, but you can be alone and happy, right? That's totally normal.
Like I went for a walk or a run,
or you just sit in your room and I don't know, play video games or read a book or read the Bible even, like whatever makes you happy. If you're alone and you're happy about it, that's fine.
But don't feel like you have like.
Here's the thing, real quick. I just want to say, you said finding an in. Finding an in does not mean waiting for the conversation or the social group to create an in for you.
Right.
And I thought that for a long time, and I wondered why I wasn't forming a friend group. And I was like, I don't know, I'll just wait till I see an appropriate moment to dive in. And you can't do that. You actually have to create the in yourself, and it doesn't even need to be a different in you create every time. It doesn't have to be a unique thing. Because, if you're trying to get in with one group of people and you create an in and it doesn't work with them, for example, your in might be that you're really witty or really funny or really smart or have lots of facts and, or it could be you're really stupid. You're really genuinely a dumb person and people like to be around you because it makes them feel smart. Any reason can be your in if you apply it as your in. Yeah. And that means you have to get someone's attention, make them not hate you, which is really not that hard to do if you just don't piss them off.
One thing,
stick around.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
This is a tip I would say would probably work for any group that sort of helped me a little bit. Mm-hmm. I was still very awkward and this needed to be fine-tuned, and it will be fine-tuned for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. So don't think this is gonna.
Yeah, we're never done. We're always a work in progress.
Yeah. So one thing I did in the Kingdom Hall is I would take something I really liked from the broadcast, and I would just bring it up to people and see who bit. Okay. So that's something you could do.
You can totally do that. It doesn't have to be from the broadcast either. You can do that from books and movies and TV shows and comedy specials you saw. You hear a joke, just repeat the joke.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to become a stand-up comedian, it's okay. It's okay for you to steal a joke here or there.
The only reason
you shouldn't steal jokes from your peers, though.
The reason I use the broadcast is that even though I don't agree with a lot of the teachings on the broadcast, if you are actively attending Kingdom Halls and trying to reach out,
you have common ground.
Yeah, you have that common ground, and I understand. You don't want to mention what shows you're watching because you could potentially stumble, but the broadcast is a safe thing in the hall. Ugh. And maybe when you feel the person out, you can bring up the shows that you like.
Yeah.
And I think that's good for
I feel like this kind of ventured into a Rule Zero sort of talk, but...
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Yeah. Okay, so let's keep going with this.
Not to mention the 4 other times earlier.
So total of 7 times.
I'm so sorry, Helen. I didn't mean to slight you in any way. And I promise, it was nothing personal.
Nothing personal. How can you invite everybody in the congregation over to your home for a good time, except me, and say that it's nothing personal?
Good evening, brothers and sisters. We invite you to please find your seats. Our meeting is about to begin.
So, question.
Yeah.
In this situation, the meeting is about to start, and they're having this conversation. This is the bad timeline. In the bad timeline, do they just stay out of the meeting, or do they come back in, or what?
They can. I've stayed in that back room to practice a talk before the meeting started. Sometimes I ran a little over and we get going. Or, in this case, for the sister...
This is purely interpersonal. Does not involve Jehovah.
But, because this is an iffy one, because there is a scripture in Matthew or something where it says, like, if you're going to bring, like, your gift to the altar, but you've wronged your brother, you need to leave your gift there, and your sacrifice is no good until you've made things right.
Brother, yeah.
So there's that scripture. At the same time, just strictly from, like, a survival measure, the sister who's been having the gatherings, who has friends, this is a good time for her to dip. Like, I'd love to stay and talk this out with you, but, the meeting's starting, So, I think
that would be the most heartless thing she could do, though, because, like, the person specifically is accusing her of, like, you've slighted me by ignoring my feelings about whether or not I'd like to come over. And it's like, oh boy, I know you really need to talk this out, but look at my wrist, I gotta get going. And then just bounce, like, ooh.
Yeah, so, which is why I use that to say, I'm pretty sure if they could just stay and talk this through a little bit more. And I don't think
And there's also the question of, sometimes talking things through is just not possible.
Yeah, like her husband might ask, like, oh, what was going on? I'll tell you about it later. Like, she's at the meeting.
Yeah.
And people have seen her. She's been talking with people. If she stays there in the back for a little bit with some sister, because there are times when, like, sisters will go to the bathroom because someone needed comfort, because, like, they have a sick relative or any reason.
Right.
It's not, like, there's not, like, a...
They're not going to get in trouble.
Yeah.